recording. Okay, I'm just gonna try to make this go as quickly as possible for everybody, so I'm just gonna skip right to it. Got a couple of quick, just refreshers on PajTrack. We've had questions about a couple of things, so I wanna make sure everybody's on the same page with that. In PajTrack, you guys all do have the ability to assign, wait, let me screen share. I can work technology. No, I can't. Okay. Entire screen. Okay. You guys should have all have the ability to assign pages. So if you need to grab a page from someone else, if a supervisor is not immediately available to help you out with that, I just want to show you guys how to do that. If you scroll down to the bottom, click Admin Home, Assign Designer, and then just pick whatever day it's for. So just scroll down to, you know, whatever page it is that you want to reassign.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but are you recording this? Our internet isn't working, so we can't see what you're doing just yet.
Okay, yep, I am recording it. I'll send out the video after the meeting.
Perfect, thank you.
So, yep. And then at the bottom is this Assign to Designer. So you just pick who you want to assign it to and click Assign Page Designer.
You can show how they can choose the publication.
Oh, yeah, if you don't want to have to scroll through everything, you can just pick which publication you want to assign things to, too. So you can click, you know, the form for this date, and then click whatever page you want to do, and who you'd like to assign it to. I'll give it back to Megan. And assign it. So, you know, on weekends, you know, if, you know, on Saturday I'm the only one here. If you wanted to grab a Sunday thing to work ahead while I'm on my lunch break, do that. If you're going to reassign a page, please let the supervisors on duty know, just so we know what's going on with them. That helps us out. The other thing, let me go back to the designer home. If you're helping somebody out and you need to hop into their queue for a minute, so if, let's say, let's pick on Megan again. Megan did her page, except for she doesn't have her lottery numbers in, and she asked if I can do those because she's working on some sports thing. If you just click Change Designer at the top, and then scroll down to, of course you're on the side, whoever's queue you need to go into, then you're looking at their pages and you can check things in and out there. If you should check out a page and if it, you know, we have that glitch sometimes where you check out a page but it doesn't actually download, or if you've accidentally deleted the page and you can't get it back, to abort the checkout, if you click on this question mark up here, it'll bring this up, click abort a checkout, and then you can pick whichever one of your pages you have checked out that you want checked back in. And what that will do is, instead of you checking the page back in, it'll just revert back to whatever the last saved copy of that page was. So if you have that issue where you try to check out a page but it doesn't actually download to your desktop, that's how you get it back, is just doing this abort checkout. If you accidentally click Send to Proofers on a page that you did not mean to click Send to Proofers, you just click on Internal Proofing back here, find your page, and click Send Back to Designer. That will send it back to your queue, so you can finish working on it. If the proofer's already checked it out, it will say in this spot right here which proofer has it, so you can send them a message in HipChat and ask them to check it back in and send it back to you. If a proofer sends a page back to you because something's not linked or something like that, you do not need to send it back to proofing. If they say they've already proofed the page, they're sending it back for missing links. That means they just don't have access to the links. You can just relink it, make the PDF, and approve the page yourself. That's come up a couple of times lately. Any questions on any of that?
Maybe show them how to get into the editor queue.
Oh, okay.
If somebody's just sitting on a page.
Yep.
Or the editor doesn't
All right.
know something.
Yeah, so if you click down here at the bottom at Editor Home, that'll bring up this list of all the pages that are ready for proofing. And so if, say, you'd sent this Grand Forks page and the editor said it was fine but didn't send it back to you, you can click Send for Correction to send it back to you, so you can get it to send to the proofers. Questions on that? And just to clarify, because this has come up a couple of times, editors are only seeing their A1s. They are not seeing jump pages or sports pages or inside covers, just their A1. And if you get any pushback from anybody, you can just tell them to talk to me. Any questions on that? Okay, the other one I wanted to quick show you is in HipChat. We've had a couple of questions about if you don't have a room in HipChat that you need to get a new room. Right on the top here where it's got the FCC logo, you just click that and just start typing whatever room you want to be in, whatever publication it is, and then just double click that. And then there you are in the room for that publication. Questions? Okay. Okay, so I just wanted to touch base on a couple of things lately. I know editors have been asking you guys to do things that are not your job. And I just want to make sure that everybody's really clear on that it is okay to say no to editors. If they are telling you that you need to pull Reuters copy, that is not our job. If something is not coming from FNS, if it's Reuters copy, the papers need to be pulling that. And if they tell you to pull that, you can just say, nope, I can't do that right now, but let me know when it's linked. You know, or feel free to say, Alicia said we're not supposed to be pulling Reuters copy anymore, so you can talk to her about it. We're also having editors asking you to email them the PDFs of their A1 because they don't want to have to go into PageTrack to do that. We're not going to allow that anymore. If they are having troubles with PageTrack, then they need to contact IT about it. We're not going to be emailing things. Everything needs to go through PageTrack. And again, if they ask for it, you can say, you know, just say, my supervisor told me I have to be sending everything through PageTrack and can't be emailing it. If you have an issue with it, you can tell them, you know, who the supervisor on duty is, say, send Alicia a note. If they're asking you and you don't feel comfortable telling them no, then send a message to whoever the supervisor on duty is. I have no problem with you sending me a message and saying, so-and-so from this paper is asking me to do this that I know I can't do. Can you hop into the room? And I'll go in there and I will tell them no for you. I have no problem doing that. I have no problem with you guys dropping my name and saying, you know, I'm sorry, but Alicia won't let me help you anymore. Or asking me to step in for you and telling them no on things. Because you guys need to be able to do what your job is and not be worried about the other stuff. And I have no problem with running interference for you to make sure that's happening. And if you are running into editors who are giving you hassles like that, who are not responding to you in HipChat, who are asking you to constantly be pulling Reuters content, whatever it should be that they're not asking, that they shouldn't be asking us to do, that they are, please let us know. We're doing our very best to monitor everything that goes on, but we've got 30 publications now and everyone has a HipChat room, and we can't keep on top of every single thing that's going on in every one of those HipChat rooms. We can't check 30 budgets every day. We're doing our best to stay on top of what's going on, but we just need you guys to let us know what's happening. Any questions on that? The other thing about editors is we do need to be making sure we are paying special attention to the things they put in the notes field. That is their request for their design. It is our job to be looking at that, the notes and what's on the budget and doing what they ask us to do. If what they ask us to do is something that we shouldn't be doing, or that maybe you have a better idea for design, it is okay to discuss that with them. You know, if they, in the notes, request a specific design and you've got an idea that you think will work better, it's okay to say, hey, I saw your note about this, what if we did it this way? But you need to communicate with that with them, otherwise they think that you just ignored them, and then we get a note about why did the designer ignore my note. So we just need to be doing what they've asked us to do, and if we're not going to do what they asked us to do, then we need to talk to them about it. If what they've asked us to do is something that's totally against our style, I've noticed sometimes in the notes field they're like, this is going to be too long to run, just drop the body copy down to 7 point. We're not going to do that. We need to stick to our style and still make things readable, so we need to ask them to cut the copy down, and again, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, let a supervisor on duty know and we'll take care of that. Questions, comments? You guys are there, right?
I hear a paper that's on.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I think the big thing is just don't feel like you can't question what an editor has said, you know, that you have to do exactly what they say, even if it's not our styles. You know, you can push back some. I've seen a lot of designers this week asking for shorter headlines. I think that's awesome because a lot of times we get ridiculously long headlines, and then they complain about having like 14-point headlines, you know. Well, you gave us a 30-word headline for our design. So don't be afraid to push back a little bit.
Anybody have any questions on that, or? All right, as always, feel free to email me if you've got stuff you'd like to say after the meeting. The other thing I wanted to talk about was I sent the correction form out this weekend, and I've got a couple of questions on it. So I just want to clarify for everybody what our goal is with the correction form, the kind of information we're looking for. Essentially what we're seeing is that some of the errors that are making it into print have common threads. Like, this publication will keep saying, you know, this headline wasn't accurate anymore, and we'll discover that it was because all of their headlines that they're turning into us are 40-word headlines, and so we're having to shorten them, and sometimes some information is getting lost in the mix. So we need to know that there's a problem with this paper, that their headlines are always too long, and that's leading to the introduction of errors. Maybe it's a photographer who is consistently giving us captions that are incoherent, so we or the proofers are trying to fix them on the page and are sometimes introducing errors. That the correction form gives us the information that, okay, we had 3 errors this month, and they were all on photo cut lines, and they were all photos by this photographer. So we can go back to the publication and say, you know, it looks like there's a problem with this photographer and the way cut lines are being turned in. So we can try to avoid those errors entirely by figuring out what the common threads of them are. The plan with the correction forms is that anytime an editor sends us an email and says, this ran wrong in my paper, then we will fill out a correction form. And sometimes what that correction form will say is, I used the suggested headline and the suggested headline was wrong. And obviously it's not going to count against you in any way that you used what the paper gave you and the paper was incorrect. You are not required to read every piece of body copy that goes on your pages. Those are all supposed to come to us ready to go. And when they are not, that is not your fault. The other question that's been asked of me is, I did mention that we are going to have an official policy of 3 or more corrections can lead to a performance improvement plan, and 6 or more corrections can lead to termination. That's not going to be errors like the property gave me wrong information, it was at deadline and a number got dropped. In my years of doing this, I have never actually seen anyone commit an error from the copy desk that I would think, wow, that's an error you should be fired for. I would be absolutely shocked if we had to enact that policy in any way. We just needed to have it in writing. But, I mean, I've never seen an error like that. I can't even think of a case at another paper that I've heard of that something like that would happen, that we would need to put that policy into force. So the goal of this really is just for us to track what's going on with the papers and what in the production system we can make better to make our jobs easier, because some of these errors are getting into papers, and we're just trying to figure out how to eliminate as many as we can, not to in any way punish you guys or be like, oh, so-and-so accidentally had a subject-verb agreement in a headline, you know. That's not what it is. It's just so we can really keep track of what's going on. There has not been any errors on the part of anyone on this team recently that made us think we need to have this policy in place so we can fire people. That's 100% not what's going on. I just want to reassure you guys that our goal with this is really just to track what's going on with the papers, with the information we're given, and how that's getting to print. Do you guys have any questions about that or concerns about do corrections at all?
Was that something we were emailed, or was it in that corrections form that you emailed about to us? Because that's the first time that I've heard of that, the 3 corrections or 6 corrections.
Yes, that was in the email that I sent.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So, and if something happens that you need to fill out a correction form for, your team leader will let you know. Cause we'll be contacted by the editor of the paper, so you'll get an email from your team leader saying, can you please fill out a correction for this? Any other questions on that? Alright, as always, you guys feel free to, shoot me a note after the meeting if you wanna talk more about that, if you have any concerns that you just don't wanna address in front of the group. I am here for you. Anything else in general anybody wants to talk about? Questions about anything? Alright, well I guess thank you all for your time then, we can get back to work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.